Hello, beautiful people of the internet. Welcome back to my channel. I hope your day is going well so far. Today's video is going to be a review and demo of the new Tartelette palette from Tarte. I realize this isn't super new, but I'm still saying it's new because I want to say it's about a month and a half to maybe 2 months old. And I have been obsessing over this palette. If you guys watched my January favorites video, then you saw this guy did make a feature in there. And I've talked about it, I want to say, in about 2 or 3 videos, and a lot of you guys have been requesting a review and tutorial using it, so I decided to mash those things into one video, and that's what we're going to be discussing today. So let's go ahead and get down with the palette first. This palette retails for $44. You can find it at tartecosmetics.com, Sephora, Ulta, and just to give you guys a quick heads up, I'm not quite sure how much longer this deal is going on for because I didn't see any specific dates listed on the website, but QVC does have this palette that comes with a dual-ended brush for, I believe it's $39.98 plus $3 shipping and handling, which would still make it cheaper than buying it, let's say, at those previous locations that I mentioned earlier. So yeah, definitely check that out. Like I said, don't be mad at me if it's not on there anymore because I'm not positive how much longer that deal is going on. So now back to the palette. If you guys haven't seen it in person yet, it comes with Tarte's like signature purple color. Inside you get a really nice mirror, and then inside you have 12 gorgeous matte eyeshadows that are infused with Amazonian clay as well as vitamin E. Tarte always incorporates awesome ingredients into their products. I know this palette is cruelty free, however I'm not sure if it is a vegan product. I know a lot of Tarte's products tend to be vegan, but I didn't see anything listed on the site for this specific palette, so that I'm not quite sure of. Also in the palette, like I mentioned, you get 12 shades. It said that these are 12 exclusive shades. I mean, I'm sure they wouldn't lie about that, but I don't know. The only weird thing is though, there's a matte black, and I feel like a matte black has definitely been in a holiday palette before. I have 2 other of Tarte's holiday release palettes. One was Away We Go, and one was another palette from last year. Those are kind of like hit or miss. I did like the Away We Go palette. However, I feel like this is hands down the best eyeshadows that Tarte has released so far. I don't know what's different about the quality, if they just really stepped up their game since this didn't really come in a kit and it was just like an exclusive palette. But I'm obsessed with it. I feel like it's such a gorgeous palette. I really haven't had any problems with any of the shades. And if you guys look inside, sorry, I keep holding it upside down because I don't want this mirror to blind you. There are 3 rows and they kind of like match with the whole color family. So right here you kind of have neutrals. The next you have cool toned purples, and then finally you kind of have another neutrals row, but maybe more that's more of a natural eye, whereas this bottom, well I guess technically top row right now, you could create more of a smoky eye. Like I said, I think pigmentation is hands down amazing. I love it, especially for matte shadows. I feel like it's really hard to find matte shadows that don't feel dry and chalky. These are incredibly creamy, and I feel like it's a very versatile product. Like, for instance, I have used this palette not only for eyeshadows, I've mixed this shade here, let's see, this is called Wanderer, as well as Dreamer to fill in my brows. I've also used some of these lighter highlighting shades right here to set my under eyes. And then where is it? Wanderer. This is a nice kind of neutral brown that you could actually use as a contour color if you were really fair. So all in all, I think it's a great palette. I absolutely love it. The only other all matte palettes that I can really think of, I know Too Faced has one. That one's kind of an older release. Well, yeah, it's pretty old. But that had a lot more like blues and navies. Another matte palette are the ones from It Cosmetics, which you guys know I absolutely adore those palettes. I don't really know which ones I like more. I don't know if it's just because this Tartelette one is newer to my collection right now, but I've been reaching for this guy over and over again. I feel like it's a great product to travel with. Another thing is inside you have a fixed mirror. What I mean by that is it's a mirror that's going to stop right here. So for instance, some palettes, you know, like the Naked 2 or the Naked 1, those just open completely. This is a nice mirror that you could travel with and you could prop on a vanity and just do your makeup. It's like a big mirror. I can see my whole face in it, which is pretty big because I got a big old head. But overall, I'm just in love with this palette. I definitely think it's a palette you'd want to add to your collection if you guys are in the market for mattes, and if you're someone who enjoys neutrals like myself. It's just a great palette. You can do everyday looks like the one I'm wearing today. You could do a really nice smoky eye, which I've done a smoky eye a couple times with just doing black all over the lid and then blending it out with a nice brown in the crease. It's just a gorgeous palette. If you guys haven't felt it in person, definitely go to Sephora and Ulta and just give it a couple swatches. I think you would be impressed. So yeah, that's really all I have to say about the palette. So now we'll go ahead and jump into the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy. The very first color I'm going to take from the palette is on the bottom left corner, and it's called Super Mom. I'm just going to apply this all over my lid, on up to my brow bone, just to kind of use as a neutralizing color all over my eye. Now moving on to my crease, I'm going to go into the shade Wanderer, which is right next to the shade we used earlier. I'm going to buff this back and forth into my crease just to create some warmth and depth. Now taking one of my very favorite colors in the palette, Best Friend, I'm going to buff this back and forth onto the outer portion of my eye and blending it inwards into my crease. This color does start off very soft, but I go in back and forth a couple of times just to really deepen up the color. I don't know what it is about the shade, but I absolutely love it. This color all over your lid as a smoky high is also amazing. Brighten up the inner half of my lid, I'm going in with this shade here called Caregiver, which is just a really nice matte, bright kind of creamy pink. I don't know really how to describe it, but I feel like it's the perfect color just to put all over your lid whenever you're just really wanting a bright white lid. The very final shade we're going to use today is the matte black called Fashionista, and just on a stiff angle brush I'm going to use this as a liner. Just because this is a really nice soft everyday look, I didn't want to go in with a liquid liner or a pencil liner on my actual lash line, so just to keep it soft and just to smoke out my lash line a bit, I'm going to take the black and just rub this back and forth onto my lash line. Now going back into the color Best Friend, I'm going to take a pencil brush and buff this back and forth onto my lower lash line. Then I'm also going to take a bit of that nice neutral brown Wanderer and buff that back and forth as well, just to create a nice kind of smoky purpley brown look onto our lower lash line. And that pretty much covers this look. As you can see, it's super simple, but I feel like it's the perfect palette if you're wanting to create an everyday look or do something more dramatic with the deeper colors. Alright you guys, so I think that pretty much wraps up my review on the Tarte Tartelette palette. I hope you guys enjoyed and found this helpful. If you did, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. If you guys would like to see any other reviews and demos on some other new release products, be sure to leave those in the comments down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe and I will see you in the next one. Bye!